part of me wants to say exactly what the movie's about. It's about the fact that there's 10 dimensions and 3 energy forces. And once you know what those are, you can sort of decide for yourself what's true and what's not true. And you're sort of a human computer in the future, because everything just has a plus, minus, or zero on it. And things will move much faster, and there'll be a new language that works much better than the English language.
If you say all that, you'll lose people.
Okay.
I think you should just stick to the story and let people inquire about how this relates to gematria. And then you can begin to introduce how you believe that that word is meaningful to you and how it influenced the decisions you made about what you filmed and how you edited. That way the people will relate to the content rather than you trying to explain it like math or geometry, which most people can't relate to. You know, when you start talking about moving into the future and using that, people are going to be like, what? You're going to have people walk out of the place because most people aren't ready to change their particular belief system. Right. They just aren't ready to do it.
Well, do you think the movie speaks for itself if I don't say anything?
I think it speaks for itself if you say minimal. So this is a new kind of story. It's an anti-story. It's about a series of images that capture different events in my life. And in the editing process, I realized something really spectacular. And that is that at any given moment, there was always support for that experience. There were other things happening that seemed in complete synchronicity. And I discovered it quite by chance. And as I went through, I discovered that it was happening all the time. And then I began to realize that this was related to my spiritual beliefs. And I realized this was spirituality in action. And then that way you begin to introduce how you discovered it rather than imposing it.
I don't know, even though I say it in the text, like, I don't really know how I could sort of convince people at first, it's not about me, it's not my story.
I know, because people are going to look at it, their reality is what they see, and all they see is you, they don't believe it. Yeah.
Welcome and congratulations for attending your first ever Algorithmic Entertainment Experience, or AEE. In the future, all forms of entertainment will be like this, but since this is truly a very first one, it has the illusion of being all about me and my story. But I assure you the exact opposite is true. It's much more about you and your story than mine. In the future, most segments of Gematria won't have me in them at all, but this is an entirely new kind of film for a new time. This film is also meant to be truly interactive and is best experienced with your subconscious and your mind's eye. Now please join me out loud in reciting the rules that exist in the pure truth universe of Gematria. Number 1. This will all sound crazy, but there are no coincidences. It's the answer. It's the future. It's for our children more than us. Number 2. This story, life, God, and the universe are all one giant puzzle designed for each of us to solve for ourselves. 3. It's all about time. Live in the present, but look to the past, not the future for answers. 4. It's all an illusion. Everything is the opposite of the way it appears. Have faith and trust about that fact. 5. In the end, you, me, and everyone will be the true heroes of this multi-dimensional, multi-generational story. Number 6. To truly know yourself is to know God and to know everyone and everything there is to know. And number 7. The future is here now if you are ready to embrace and accept it. The whole concept of Gematria is that there's a specific vibration to everything meaningful in the universe. And once you tap into your subconscious and mind's eye, you can discover for yourself what the organic pure truth to everything is. Then you can finally lead your life based on your own truthful ideology instead of someone else's false beliefs. There has not been enough spiritual energy to do this experientially for hundreds or maybe even thousands of years. But we are truly entering a new time. And in this new time, a spiritual energy that has long lagged behind each and every one of the different factions of the system is rushing out of the darkness at the speed of light. This new spirituality is ready to be discovered by each of us, and by all of us, as one collective conscious again. These words are the first of many pure truths you will experience tonight.
Yeah, do you have a contact number for Michael Drosnin, who wrote the Bible Code?
Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Hi, he's now in Viking, which is a random house.
Okay, you don't know that number, do you?
No, I don't have it. They should be listed.
They're Viking Random House in New York?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Verizon Nationwide 411. Make progress every day.
What cities and states, please?
New York City?
Thank you. What listings?
Viking Random House? Or Random House, I guess?
Thank you.
Random House.
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to find out some information about the ancillary rights and contact information for one of your authors.
Which publisher are you calling?
Viking?
Oh, this is a Viking, sir.
I mean, is Random House Viking?
No, Random House. Viking is a completely different company.
When did you first start producing?
When did me?
When did you
Well,
figure out that's what you want to do?
Well, I don't know. I think I was like
Or was it generally you just wanted to get in the film?
No, I didn't actually. I think I'm like more like the kind of person that's just a natural born producer, and that's not necessarily a good thing to be a producer. It's just like I was just always running around. You know, I had a paper out and selling sunglasses and doing deals, and then I was on the ski team, and I did windsurfing, and I went to college, and then in the ski movies I did Hot Dog the Movie, as a stunt skier. But when I went to New York City, I was working at Wall Street at Goldman Sachs in the 80s when the stock market crashed, and that was when I sort of was in New York that I first really saw, kind of more the arts and film business, and got interested in it there, and then was going to go back to get an MBA, and got into Harvard and Stanford, and quit my job, and started working with someone in between before school started that was doing commercials that I knew from skiing. And I had fun, and I said, I don't want to go take accounting again. And then that's when I found out about the producing program at USC, the START program, so I came out here in '88.
Yeah.
And then I got out in '90 and worked my way up with Scott Rudin, Ray Stark.
Scott Rudin was that?
Scott Rudin was my first job for a year. And then Ray Stark had been around forever.
And he kind of like got a little big time now.
Scott's like the biggest producer. Well, I worked for the
screen.
biggest producer, Scott Rudin, Brian Grazer. I worked there for 2 years. And then Miramax. Everybody knows what an actor does and a writer does and a director does, but like everybody thinks they're a producer, but nobody really knows what they do, And it's sort of like the people that really know how to do it, those guys, they don't want normal people to be able to do it. So it's like that was the good news and the bad news. So I haven't really dealt with that. Like I started my new company, and I have like another year before I have to do something. So I sort of got to figure that out too.
Yeah.
But that's part of being a producer. What I realize is like people go, oh, it's tough. It's this. And it's like, well, there's two sides to producing. One is sort of having talent and finding great stories and young writers and directors and then making something happen. But it's sort of like nobody pays attention until you've got something good and then everybody comes gunning for you. It's like you're panning for gold, and if you hit the gold, then somebody blows a whistle and they all come. And so you got to be just as good at like defending yourself and going after people, and that's why you hear about these crazy producers that scream and yell and do it. I begin to realize it's because everybody's trying to take their vision or what they have, and it's like you've got to be the biggest bully on the block to survive the sharks, And so it's, but the good news and the bad news is once you realize you got to be just as good at that as sort of being good with stories, then you quit trying to wish it was never happening, and you just learn how to protect yourself.
Rosenberg, like many of his teammates, decided not to jump with uprights, mainly because he hadn't practiced them this year.
Most of the people in the team are not going to be jumping today. It's sad, definitely. I wish I was jumping.
Paul placed 8th in overall World Cup competition.
Wait, you didn't hear? Wait, Bobby, come back in because we got to get Rich's story. Sorry, we jumped around. You grew up in New York. That's where we left off.
Went to business school at NYU and went to work at Citibank in their investment banking group. Then went to work at Drexel.
When they were hot.
That was a rocker second time. And then, things were winding down a bit in late '89, early '90 at Drexel, I was offered an opportunity to move out to LA and get in the movie business.
Okay, look. There, I captured you. There you are. There's the mind. I'm doing stuff from the mind's eye, which is what that baby Einstein thing kind of reminded me of. So here we've got Rich. This is Rich in Wilshire. They're going over to the bubble factory. Since the world started over, it wants to be a simpler place. Everybody sort of knows it. It's like it's very confusing. Well, there wasn't an entertainment business when the world started, but what was there? Storytellers. There was storytellers. The difference now is there's technology. And so I believe it's going to be people like this who can sort of tell their own stories without needing, because anybody with a camera that's separate biases it. Like you're going to do your dying spouse or you're going to do your life story, and that's a very powerful thing. People don't want to be force-fed 500 channels or $300 million movies anymore.
And it was like, since you said that, like, there was that thing I saw, but there's been a couple of other, like, things that it's like, and you know,
you read about producers and it's like no lawyer can do it. It's like you got to move at the speed of light, and it's all invisible. It's like you're building a house invisibly, you know, and then all of a sudden you're going to unveil it and everybody's going to see it, and so when you're doing it you look like a nut, but you're not, because when everybody sees it they go, ah, you know. And so but the other side to it is you got to defend yourself and you got to kick ass. So you hear about bam, 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 but it really is like, you know, you sort of time it. It's all sort of the windows of opportunity and getting press and following it up. It's like, you know, you can never stop producing, because producing is creating inspiration, putting things in motion, making something happen, catching lightning in a bottle. Because it's sort of like I sit here all day and I see stuff and I watch stuff on the news and I watch the war and I just kind of, like, it gives me a picture, you know? Yeah, I guess I'll try Random House first. I'm trying to find out, are you guys working with Michael Drosnin, the author of the Bible Code?
I don't know. Do you know which imprint it is?
Viking, I think?
Viking. Viking is part of Penguin.
Oh, it's a different one?
Uh-huh. This is Random House.
I'm trying to track down an author on, I think Viking is representing now.
Publicity, please. Viking publicity.
Yeah, I'm a producer out in LA, and I'm trying to get in contact with Michael Drosnin, the Bible Code author, and I was told you guys represent him now.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me transfer the person working on that.
Okay.
Transferring call. Please hold.
Yeah, I'm originally trying to get in touch with Michael Drosnin, and I'm wondering if you would have any advice for me on how to do that. Is there any way that you can, I mean, does he not want to be contacted by anybody, or are you representing him? No, I understand. No, that's okay. I'm a movie producer out in LA, and I've been working on a project, and some strange stuff happened, and I want to get a story out, and I want to talk to him. I kind of got some of the answers that he's looking for in his book, believe it or not, and I'm sort of asking the question without trying to. So let me take the pressure off right now. I'm not asking you to get in touch with him. What would I do, though? Do you have any suggestions? Okay, is there anybody that I would try to call? I mean, does he?
1:37 p.m.
Let's see, Paul, my name is Michael Drosnin. Some time ago, you tried to reach me through my publisher in reference to my book, Bible Code. I'll leave your number, but you gotta promise me not to give it to anyone. It's 21.
Looks good at NASA 1. Roger. BCS arm switch is on. Okay, Victor. Landing rocket arm switch is on. Here comes the throttle. Circuit breakers in. We have separation. Roger. Inboard and outboards are on. We're coming forward with the side stick. All looks good.
And as we begin this Double Jeopardy round, Debbie, you get to select first.
I'll take Guinness records for 200, please.
The answer is, Guinness says a Swedish man grew one 110.5 inches long. Even Gene Shalit's is shorter. David.
What is a mustache?
You are right. You get to pick.
Guinness for 400, please.
A game of this in the Netherlands started with 6,003 players and ended with one woman in one seat. Debbie.
What is spin the bottle?
No. David or Paul? Correct response. What is musical chairs? David, you get to select.
Monsters in history for 200, please.
The answer is, he was known as the Butcher of Bavaria. The correct response in this case, who was Vlad the Impaler? David, pick again, please.
Monsters in history for 400.
Though it's been given the scientific name Necessarus rhombopteryx, many still doubt its existence. Debbie.
What is the Loch Ness Monster?
Right.
Folks, stand by.
So, face it, Tom, you don't give a fat rat's ass about the hungry. All you care about is the bottom line.
That is absolutely not true.
All right, go ahead.
We raised a lot of money. This is really a great
Yeah, but you do it for the publicity.
No.
So Paul Colford writes up nice in his column.
How many years have you had this hungerthon? When will hunger be cured?
Yeah, Tom, when are you going to cure the hungry already?
No, Tom was actually willing to take you off the air today in order to have you appear last night.
Right.
So he's willing to make a big trade.
And I decided that it was more important to be on the air.
Right. Which is fine.
Which I'm glad. You know what? I was so headachy. I had 2 long meetings.
Yeah.
Meetings about how I'm going to get away from Tom and, you know what I mean, about my future. Some guy gave me a treatment, one of the studios.
Uh-huh.
And the treatment was, I read, I go, this is really funny. I go, but how could I have a funny treatment here? How could Howard Stern be holding a funny treatment? I've read treatments for 2 years and haven't been able to find anything funny.
How did this happen?
So then I gave it to like 3 people to read at my agent's office. I said, now, is this funny? Because I think this is funny. They cracked up. We called the guy immediately, and we might go do it.
Light as a fella. You know I was a welterweight champ, Golden Glove welterweight champ, 1956. You know what's interesting? To dance around light. I want to go around people that don't know it's me and move real fast and shit. Look at that agile fat man.
You guys should be sitting in the office right now going, it looks incredible. Is this the footage? Come in here and see this! Tell me who that is on the screen. I don't know. Who is that? It's Eddie Murphy. Get out of here.
Pause it. That's amazing. Who did that? Rick Baker. People are like, who's that guy?
I'm a nut, my life don't ever get in a rut. The head on my shoulders is sort of loose, and I ain't got sense God gave a goose. Lord, I ain't crazy, but I'm a nut. Is it wetter underwater if you're there when it rains? Is it shorter to New York than it is by plane? Between myself and I wonder who's the dumber. Is it hotter down south than it is in the summer? I'm a nut, my life don't ever get in a rut. The head on my shoulders is sort of loose, and I ain't got sense God gave a goose. Lord, I ain't crazy, but I'm a nut.
New York, now with added fiber, it's The Late Show with David Letterman.
Our next guest is one of the stars of the television program Party of Five. He's also in a new film entitled Go, which I have seen. It opens on Friday. Here's Scott Wolf. Scott, come on up.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
Thanks for being on the show. This is your first time here, isn't it?
This is my first time on the show.
Well,
although
good.
we almost met one time.
Where was that?
It was on the Regis and Kathy Lee program.
Right.
And we were scheduled to be on the same day.
Oh, I thought maybe we'd been in the audience together. No. That'd be something, wouldn't it?
That would be something.
Saw this movie, Go.
Yes.
Well, it's pretty entertaining. You know, it's very, the funniest thing for me, and it's very funny, but it's also kind of evil and scary and nasty.
It's dark.
But it's, in addition to that, it's very amusing.
Jay Moore and I, you guys don't know Jay Moore from all of his work. Fans of Jay Moore. We play two soap opera actors who have gotten into some trouble with the police and have to go undercover to do a little drug
And he's in
sting.
charge of this sting, and he's a very odd, very strange guy.
He's a wacky guy, and they
very funny.
They actually, there's a scene where they put a microphone on me to wire me for when we go into this drug sting. And there's a shot. The shot begins basically on my with my pants down, on my. Oh, thank you. That's always nice. And it starts on my underwear, and so the underwear was somewhat crucial. It had to be character specific. So
yeah, exactly. You have to have the right kind of...
The right kind of drawers for the character. Well, we didn't have the right kind of underwear, and so I showed the director my underwear. I said, what about these? And he said, no. And so all of the crew guys sort of started filing in, and everyone started showing their underwear. And one producer named Paul, who he showed his, he said, what about these? And the director said, yes. Doug said, yes, those. Those are the underwear. So they were, should I put those on? He said, so Paul went into the bathroom and he took off his underwear.
Wow.
And then I went into the bathroom and I put Paul's underwear on. So the good news was that, that we had the right underwear. The bad news was they were a little damp.
I've got a blowout. Day for 3. Get your pitch to 0. Pitch is out. I can't hold altitude. Correction. Alpha hold is on. Trip selected. Emergency. Flight com. I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's breaking.
Steve Austin, astronaut. A man barely alive. We can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can make him better than he was. Better, stronger, faster.
Where are we? Where'd you get those flowers?
Already from the newlywed kit.
Really? Is that a free gift from the Chapel of Love?
Newlywed kit.
Really?
Got a flower.
Yeah,
They have a free drive-through special.
do you want to do it? Where are we getting married?
Marriage Bureau.
I was feeling pretty good, but now I kind of got chest pains. Marriage Bureau. I think I need a drink. Should we go down there instead?
This is 10 rules for a happy marriage.
Yeah.
Never both be angry at the same time.
All right, there's one down.
Never yell at each other unless the house is on fire.
Uh-huh.
If one of you has to win an argument, let it be your mate.
Remember that one a lot. Say that one again.
No. Maybe you should say that one. If you have to criticize, do it lovingly. Never bring up mistakes of the past.
We're next on for it.
Okay. Bring me your paper.
Can I film you? Do you mind if I film you?
It's okay.
Everyone thinks we're getting engaged next week, you know, so we had to surprise them.
Paul, it's your wedding day. How do you feel, buddy?
Tight chest, tight chest.
Tight chest? Let's see, where? Where's it
Tight
hurt?
chest, a little tight. I love Robin. It's sure about Robin, but the whole thing's a little stressful.
A little stressful?
Okay, all right. Now turn it off for 1 sec.
Do you have the
Let me
key?
just get ready. Hold on.
Do you have the key?
Yes, I do. I have a key.
Do you have the marriage certificate?
No?
Maybe this is in here. Shoes, pressure point, rings.
It's like a big...
Here, I got it.
Okay.
Little camera.
Right around, Miss Roseberg.
But he said that, you know, forget the hotels. Call this Dolce Vita. It's a closed down hotel, but it's a beautiful chapel, and they have the Mazel Tov package. What, $259?
$250 for the whole thing. You get the glass in there too.
You get to stomp the glass.
Robin, what happened in the florist shop? So I had a fight with the florist. I went in there because I know that part of the package for the $250 you don't get a very nice bouquet, and I
didn't get the flower package.
I didn't get anything
You got
extra.
the
But it
video.
wasn't much extra. So I went to the florist to see if they could maybe make me up a little nice bouquet. Just a little sweet. Yeah, just a little something. Bring it up to my room, whatever. Or I can come back at it. Exactly. She gave me a really hard time. I don't know. What do you want? I can do this, but it's going to cost you this, and I don't know if I can bring it up there. And after 10 minutes of dealing with her, I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm just going to go somewhere else. Thanks.
My wife.
I just turned it.
So this is really just a joke.
Yeah, Bill.
Happy wedding day. Thank you. This is a beautiful ketubah, huh?
Of course it is.
The witnesses, you should get Robin signs it.
Who are the two witnesses?
These are the two witnesses.
Wait.
I hope I don't trip.
Presenting Paul and Robin Rosenberg.
Noise.
Right there. Beautiful. More kissing, more kissing. Beautiful.
Happy birthday, dear Paul.
And Sia and Robin and everybody else.
And Sia.
But I know what you guys are thinking. There's not enough cake for everybody. So we have another cake. It's not celebrating my birthday. It's celebrating something else. And I'm not. There's two things that you need to know. Robin's not pregnant, and I'm not engaged. However, last week on Saturday, October 6th, Robin and I eloped to Las Vegas and are married. So.
Well, Paul, it's a classic. I had a feeling you might do something like this before you turn 40. Couldn't have had a better guy. Robin, good luck. You got your hands full, and we couldn't be happier for you guys. We love you.
Paul, I've known you since kindergarten. I didn't think it was going to take this long, but I'm glad you waited. Robin's a sweet girl, and I wish you guys much love and happiness in the future. We love you. Bye-bye.
We love you lots. Congratulations.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Paul, when I met Paul, it was the first guy I'd met that I knew was going to be my challenge. And he was. And it worked out.
Robin keeps Paul in his place, which is the best thing about
that'll
her.
be for sure.
And that never changed.
From day one, we all knew that he and Robin would tie the knot. They were meant for each other. What we think of as insanity, she thinks of as charming. They connect as friends, lovers, and now as husband and wife.
Good luck to Paul. My daughter Robin is very exciting and very challenging, and I wish him all the luck in the world.
What's wrong, Alice?
My parents are gone.
What else is wrong, Alice?
Something's
broken. What's broken, Alice? I am. Among mad people. Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here.
Okay. I'm trying to give me the benefit of the doubt, because what happens is you don't even let me speak or think in a real way. I know it seems crazy, but I really am at the end of the game puzzle. I really have learned everything, and I can I'm going to prove it to you here in a second in a weird way. Just want me to be the way I am and not backwards in the first grade after graduating top of my class. Okay, I can't do that. I'm a champion, and so are you. But you never sort of went out and proved it to yourself in ways that matter to you. You know, medical school doesn't matter to you, you know, and that's what's great about you. But life should matter to you, okay? Who you are as a person should matter to you. How much you sort of evolve should matter to you. And I think it does, but somehow you got it all confused in your head. I don't understand.
But I grew up, I was always around worry.
I was around tragedy. Worry is nothing. So I've proven to myself 1,000,000 times that the sky's the limit for me. And that's the way I see you. And that's the way other people see you. You're stronger than anybody else I know. You got more potential to be a superhero than anyone I know.
Private First Class Lori Piastowa, believed to be the first female Native American killed in combat.
The state thing, when it just kind of came out of nowhere and you just had all these ideas, you did that and went through that because you were supposed to use that to figure out who you were and use that in this. So you knew when to leave and stop that and put that aside, because the time to do that was when you were aware of who you were, your father's son.
Absolutely.
That was supposed to lead you to this.
Okay, wait, now film me. Thank you, wife. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right, because I guess I told this to Bobby. There's 3 things that I always kept doing: circle, triangle, square. I got it wrong. It's not circle, triangle, square. It's circle, square, triangle. Okay? And I'm going to show you. Just stay right there. I'm going to show you the way this works. So, God created us in the world. That's our soul. That's perfection. Okay? There can be only one creator. Okay? That's your soul. And then, it wasn't triangle next, it's book. That's your mind. That's knowledge. That's your mind. That's what everything you learn in life. Okay? Soul, mind. And why did he give you a body? Because that's your weapon. That's what you go out in the world. And you either share the love or you fight the evil. That's your spear. Right? This is the soft, fleshy part. This is what you put on for armor. And then this is the spear. So it's soul, mind, body.
Time somehow is speeding up right now.
Yeah.
And that's what the person that pays attention to these things is aware of it, the physicist is aware of it, and Mrs. Jones is aware of it. And everybody's saying, where did the time go? And you know, if you look at the details of your life, if you look at the details of your daily life, the things that you do, not just the sentimental stories, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Where is the time going? Everything is going so fast, it's almost as if our senses can't keep up with it.
If somebody would pitch me a story, I would say that's a good story. But I sort of want to mathematically go back in time and get the backstory. Turns out when I had these lawsuits, I went back 2 years for one, 10 years for another, 40 years for the last one. But somehow, like, I ripped a hole in the universe, and I just kept going. And I just kept going back in time until I got to 0, and that's when I saw the pattern. And once I had that pattern in my head, it turned out it showed up everywhere, every time. This sort of magnetic groove that was sort of like a slot car, or sort of like a bobsled or something, where it's like once I got in the groove, I could just follow the pattern of the 2 triangles in the circle. So when I'm doing stories or negotiating or whatever, people think I'm sort of way out there. The guy we just talked to said I'm coming from a different place, but it turns out I'm coming from the it's like I'm on the triangle of the universe, so like you can't really knock me off. It's a different place than society is right now, but it turns out it's the place where we all rest. It's the foundation of everything.
got behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun.
I think what happens is our senses convince us that everything has boundaries. This has boundaries, our body has boundaries. So we draw all our conclusions and apply them before the fact. So we believe that what we see becomes the measure, and then we come up with the rules based on what we see. So we kind of do things in reverse. And what happens is when you start to question the big things in life, what is infinity, what is life, who are we, what is God, those things that don't seem to have any boundaries, we don't really know how to relate to that. What I find unique about your story and your passion about geometry that most people will have a very hard time relating to, what that does differently is it enfolds things. So as you begin to leave the familiar world and the material world and you enter into that spiritual, intangible world, what your movie attempts to do is explain that it doesn't have to be abstracted. You can leave it in its true sense, but you have to like fold it back. And in the process of folding, you're in a sense redirecting the energy, and it turns out that that's the way nature works, where you're taking the information and you're folding it back in and saying, this is very different, this has nothing to do with this scene, but it does. Here, let me show you, let me fold it back in and show you how they're related. That's when it becomes geometrical, because what you're doing is saying that this, and this are happening all in the same space and time. Our brains are just not used to that.
What became my outlet was freestyle skiing.
What year was this?
Well, you know, I started doing it when I was a young kid. I saw it on TV. I saw you guys on TV. I remember watching the CBS Aero Classic.
Yeah, Nordic Valley.
Nordic Valley. I saw that and I went in my backyard, I had skis, I built a jump, and I started doing flips.
That crazy journey of being 18 and doing that, that makes us, like, those are still my best friends, you know, like, my buddies. It's just, like, it makes so much sense. We were right side up and upside down.
We were very geometric and very ceremonial, spinning and twisting circles.
Yeah, it's upside down, right side up.
That's how American Indians do their ceremonies.
It's like a religion. It's all about perfecting that technique. Like determining the winner of a golf tournament with 2 golf strokes. 1, 2. Best 2 win. That's what our sport is like. It happens so fast. I'm not even close to reaching my potential. Now, going where people haven't gone before.
There's Dr. Robin in surgery on the Thanksgiving bird. How's it skin?
It's okay.
Yeah? Can you help it skin?
A little sunburn.
Really? Would sunscreen have worked for that? Would Dr. Robin's 50 worked better for that turkey?
Probably.
Really? Looks pretty good. Who cooked it?
I did.
Dr. Robin? All that and she can cook too? Somebody ought to marry that girl.
Love my rosy child. You got the way to make me happy. You and me, we go in style. Crackling rolls, your store-bought woman, but you make me sing like a...
All this and she can sing too.
So hang on to me, girl, the song keeps running on.
I lost momentum because I sort of didn't do anything 2 weeks ago and there was a window? Yes. Did I create the momentum and can I make it again? Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the
anxiety is set in with them.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, the great thing is I realized this whole thing, Bobby, is just nothing but the story of creation over and over again, applied in every... the creation of a second, a moment, an idea, a movie, a fight. You know, it's like there's metaphysical and physical laws that go into the creation rules, and that's all it is. You're recreating stuff, and if they think it's real, you're doing it right, right?
Feel real and all that, but nothing really has changed in the physical dimension. Anyway, so I'm driving home, and I'm like, I'm not in a super light space, but I'm feeling okay. 3 bald eagles start crisscrossing right in front of my car. Like, I slow down, and they're going at about 30 miles an hour, crisscrossing in front of my car. It made me really happy, and I've just been really happy for a week now.
Yeah, see, that's what happened, Bill. It's been 1 week since 3303. That's when it happened. The world started over, the karmic world. It's all physics. It's like metaphysical world and the physical world just met. And there used to be 3 of everything. Beginning, middle, and end to a story. The power of story. The power of everything was 3. But now it's 4. You can now fold space and time. Because I've been doing it for a couple of years. But it's like I can spend a year on something that should take a week. Or I can get the answer on something that should take years. You know, when you're in skiing, you can't explain what you're doing. It's just natural, it's zen, it's effortless. Well, when I'm thinking I have the answer, it's like reaching out and planting your pole. My mind moves out at the speed of light to some higher energy force and comes back with the answer, and I'm saying it before I even realize it's in my head, like planting your pole. It's really weird. I don't even feel like I'm talking. I'm just like an antenna that's tuned in the right station, only it's not on the front of the dial. You gotta go behind and mess around to find it. But I think it's happening on I'm sure there's somebody on Wall Street doing it there, and there's somebody, you know, in education doing it there. It's like there's people, you know, and everybody's doing it on some level. But to know yourselves, to know the universe. To know the universe is to know yourself. And it's like, why is it better to be self-taught? Because if I watch everybody else to learn how to ski, I can only be as good as them. But if I'm able to tap into like the creator in myself and the perfection in myself, there's no limit to how much I can teach myself. And that's what happened during this year, Bill. It's like I got answers that I'm not supposed to know. And then I got problems I'm not supposed to have.
That's right, folks. Don't touch that dump. Well, I am the sign from the radio. Who's running along on the living room floor? I am the sign from the video.
Dude, it's happening again. It's happening. I got something for you. Hold on. Hold on. It's time. It's time for a change. It's time for a better way to do things. It's time for words to mean something again. It's time for time to mean something. It's time for time. It's time. The shape of the fourth dimension is diamond. The shape of the circle, square, triangle, diamond. Diamond. What I'm about to tell you is, why didn't we get that house that we thought was perfect for us? And was it perfect for us?
No.
Well, it was perfect for us except for one thing, which is
We don't have any money?
we had enough money too. We weren't supposed to have it because we needed to stay here long enough so I could know where everything is and what everything is, because if we would have moved, I would have lost all of this, right?
Right.
It would have never been put together the same way. And what this may all be about is if one other person tried to tell my story but me, they'd have their own ego and their own opinions. You see the media, what they do. They destroy everything. You see when someone trusts a reporter, he gets it wrong. Nobody can tell your story except you. If you let anybody else tell your story, they're going to tell their story. I think all the words that didn't mean something again. The microphone. Say it again. What do you want me to do? Say it again. I didn't have the microphone on.
Clean the kitty litter.
Oh, why?
It stinks.
Okay.
What is that giant cord coming out of his computer? What is that?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
Paul, are you still baking a D?
Yeah. It's gonna be a while.
What do you?
Now, it takes 6 days and I'm 7-day rest.
36. There's a message that says during the week you're at some other number.
Yeah, because I don't answer that number.
Where do you go?
They're right there, line 1 and 2. I'm not here. But that, Ron, where I go is a good question. Nobody knows where I go.
He's really here. I want a hotline to God.
You are a hotline to God. Hey Brian, this is Paul Rosenberg, and I'm sending out a letter, and you're CC'd on it, and there's a whole package coming to you at your Columbia University address tomorrow. Anyway, between what you know and who you are and what I figured out completely experientially, we've got all the answers, Brian, and that's what I'm hoping more than anyone else on that list, and it's Stephen Hawking and Paul Davies and the guy at Scientific American and the Bible Code guy. Hopefully I can spend some time with you and I can build you a light set like I have. Hi Caroline, this is Paul Rosenberg. I had sent you a bunch of crazy stuff on the soulographic principle to forward on to Michael Drosnin, because hopefully it won't be crazy to him. Jackson arrives! And Milo's there to greet him. How you doing? The first thing that you would get. I'm sending this to the Scientific American guys, because that's where I've been reading those. And that's what GEMATRIA is.
Scientific America.
It's his magazine. You know,
oh, a magazine. Got it.
I figured out how everything syncs up. Your brain, the universe, God, math. And so instead of working on a million different things, I'm really just working on one thing, but it works in all cases. It's a long story. So it's all in the music, and the music is where your soul is. Basically, Jack, the theory is there's a physical world and a metaphysical world. And the metaphysical world goes soul, body, mind. Soul first, and the physical world goes body first. And they go in opposition. So you're supposed to wake up and travel soul first every day. Like what karma is you're all full of yourself. You grow up thinking about me. And then when you get close to having a life experience or something, you go soul first for a while and your karma's better. But all karma and souls and God is an electrical charge.
In university, we study Far Eastern religions.
Yeah. They're all a piece of it.
Well, the way the doctor described it is she said religion was like 5 blind men around an elephant.
Yeah.
And that one guy was
describing the trunk.
Exactly.
You've heard this analogy before.
Yeah.
One guy was describing the ass,
Yeah.
and that they're all describing the same thing from different perspectives.
They're describing that. I read the whole Bible a couple of times. Really? I think I still have it. Yeah, you'll be amazed. It's like because there's a certain amount you're supposed to reach each week. I read it for a year or two. It was awesome. Well, I sent it. I would do that. I'll find that for you. Alan gave me that. He got it on this thing. I don't know if that was any good. Kabbalah, but I just made copies of everything. Good, I made this for you. I don't know if that's how you spell it, but that made me think of that. Yeah. The key, Robin. This is the key. There can be only one. The spark to the sun. The physical world is 100% connected to the spiritual world, right? Everything in life is totally connected so that the survival of the fittest is the way the Creator made it. Because He is Darwinism, right? Do you see? I don't know what's the latest in theological thinking in the world, but I don't believe those two things have been completely accepted as being one and the same yet. Nor has there been only one God been connected to being one and the same yet. That's what this is all about. That's what the songs are about. That's what the news is about. That's what my anger is about. That's what my love is about. Everybody has got walls and separated when there should be none. There are no walls and no separations in perfection and in creation, and it's time to break down all the walls. I see that it's sort of the houses and everything, they're good to have, but they hide the magic. All that the world has done is good, but if it makes you lose all the magic, it's bad. And so it's not right to have nothing. It's just not right to have no magic. Everything in life is a balance between magic, not magic, spirituality, not spirituality, and there's no magic and too much walls, right? Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You
Some of what you were describing earlier about the me part is there's into stuff. Because like they have like 3 or 4 steps in
What I'm trying to
Revelation.
tell you, Jack, is I figured out what pure truth is. And before there was any religion, there was God, Adam, and Eve. How did they figure it out? They just felt it. Positive, negative energy. Here's what the legal system should be. Here's what religion should be. And then they had storytellers. So I figured out how to go forward, backward in time. And I went all the way back, and I'll explain it to you. And I just figured this out by me and Robin, or Adam and Eve, and I sat in this apartment and didn't go around chasing my tail. So I figured out how everything worked before it became religion and the legal and everything. Before, what was zero? This is the missing piece. If you go back before there was any other, it's positive, negative, and zero. That's it. That's why I love doing puzzles. It's a long story.
And this is what this is. Connecting the dots. Putting a puzzle together.
That's what I do. That's what a producer does. Although it sounds crazy, but the reason people go crazy is because there is these two different worlds and they're half in and half out and they don't understand. But I got a sick amount of mental discipline. What mania is, manic depression, is when someone goes straight up and they can't sustain it and then they drop straight down. But what I figured out is life's kind of a circuit and that there's a positive, negative charge, and if you complete the whole charge, it's like you're just like a kite that stays up without ever getting tired. It's effortless. It's different.
I'd like to be that kite.
It's all power, positive energy. I was trying to teach my wife about God and truth and my tricks and my shortcut man. I know how to jump to the end and work backwards. So all of this, I give credit to my wife for. Do a little show. Now you're being recorded. Do the Breck commercial. Yeah, but you got that model look that we like so much. Wow. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's no Jewish doctor I know. Is that your dermatologist look like this?
Hardly express my mixed emotions at my thoughtlessness. After all, I'm forever in your debt. And woman, I will try to express my inner feelings and thankfulness for showing success.
Let's see, Paul, my name is Michael Drostin, and some time ago you tried to reach me through my publisher in reference to my book, Bible Code.
My brain figures out puzzles. I'm going to figure out the truth. And I started rethinking all the different things that had happened for these different lawsuits. I just started feeling like a geometric pattern that was going back in time when I would figure all this stuff out, and my brain was starting to figure this stuff out, and one thing led to another, and it was like 2 points on a line. And the next thing I knew, I was drawing shapes and doing mathematical equations, which I know how to do, but it ended up being that I was just figuring out what the truth was in my lawsuits, and it turned out I figured out what pure truth was, which when you go back in time, it's kind of 1/3 mind, 1/3 body, 1/3 soul. What I'm trying to say is I read your book, and while you were searching the world physically, I've been sort of sitting at home searching my subconscious, and I didn't mean to come up with it, but every question you're asking, I had the answers, and that's what I sent out.
Keep me searching for a heart of gold. You keep me searching and I'm growing old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
God is a filter of layers that separates pure positive from pure negative energy. It's a geometric set of numbers and equations that if you put everything in the world through those filters, you separate pure positive into pure negative. The word God used to mean something, and I think it will again. And He wants us to create our own faith and our own religion based on what we see now, not what came before us, and not what we hope is going to be in the future. God wants us to see Him in the moment and come with Him. Part 1 tonight, we see all of the 5 dimensions that exist in the physical world: body, mind, soul, time, and God. The basic building block concept of GEMATRIA is what I call the SOULographic principle. The principle behind it is that your soul only speaks one language, pure truth. And because of that, you should travel through life in the universe, soul first, body second, and mind third. This, of course, goes against everything we are taught and experience in the physical world. You are considered weak, crazy, or irresponsible if you let your spirit guide you from mundane, everyday things. That is meant for special times like marriage, death, and childbirth. But in actuality, the opposite is true. There is an invisible, inverse, geometric, spiritual universe leading us that our physical universe follows. The 5 dimensions of the invisible, inverse universe are past, present, future, faith, and trust. When it was originally conceived, the 3-letter word for God had a numeric value, including a set of equations that were designed to be used as a 3-dimensional filter to separate the 3 energy forces of the universe: positive energy, negative energy, and spiritual energy. But it turns out that just a 3-dimensional existence in a filter is not enough anymore. We are evolving as a species at this very moment. So since there are now 10 dimensions, the concept of God remains, but the word itself must be updated to include 10 symbols. That word is GEMATRIA. The last 2 symbols, the exclamation points, represent faith and trust. At this point, you should be thinking, I heard this guy went nuts, and it sounds like he did. Let's just get up and leave now. Until today, that's what I would have advised you and everyone else here to do. Because even if what I say is true, the one fact that always remained the same is that every person had to figure out their most valuable lessons on their own. It has never been possible to solve the puzzle of life for others, your mate, or your children. I know that's all changed forever, because 9 years ago, 2 life-altering things happened to me. The first was I ended up in 3 major lawsuits that had to do with my body, mind, and soul. The second thing was I got married, and for the first time I wanted to go from being a great student to a great teacher and share all the life lessons and tricks I learned with my wife and children. And now you.
I saw it written and I saw it say, the Bingo Moon is on its way. None of you stand so tall. The Bingo Moon gonna get you all. It's a Bingo Moon. There's a Bingo Moon. Bing, bing, bing. Saw it written and I saw it say, the Bingo Moon is on its way. None of you stand so tall. down, give me a place to be. Strong in the sun. Thought I'd see one day it was done. I'm weaker than the palest blue. Oh, so